The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by former guest of the show and Matt Landowski and Sweet Hand Sports. Our mission at Sweet Hand Sports is to gear you up for greatness. With our top tier gloves, you are set to grip, win, and dominate. Grip your victory and leave your mark on the game. Sweet Hand Sports brings you batting gloves and now golf gloves that are designed to be durable and breathable. Go to sweethandsports.com, use the promo code BONO10 and save yourself 10%. Grip your victory at Sweet Hand Sports. Once again, sweethandsports.com, promo code BONO10 to save yourself 10%. The Ride Home Rants podcast is also brought to you by Buddy's Beard Care. Buddy's Beard Care provides premium men's grooming product at an affordable price. Products are made in Ohio, and Buddy's Beard Care supports local. The majority of their suppliers are from other Ohio-based companies. You can find them on social media at Buddy's Beard Care or online at buddysbeardcare.com. He has sent me a complimentary bottle of their beard balm. My beard has never felt softer. It has never been more tamed and has never grown faster or looked healthier. I've been using these products for a little while now, and I love every minute of it. Once again, buddysbeardcare.com. Use the promo code Mike Bono and save yourself 15%. Next, we are brought to you by Tactical Brotherhood. The Tactical Brotherhood is a movement to support America. We believe that there is a gap in focus when it comes to companies that support America. We want to be the front lines of supporting Americans and are determined to find something worth being proud of in every aspect of our military, starting with the men and women who serve and protect us. Our mission is simple: to unite like-minded individuals by celebrating what makes each one of us unique Americans. You don't have to be a veteran to join us. You just have to love America. Go to tacticalbrotherhood.com, use the promo code Mike Bono, and save yourself 10%. Once again, the tacticalbrotherhood.com, promo code Mike Bono, save yourself 10%. Next, we are brought to you by Deemed Fit, a clothing company brought to you by first responders for first responders. They are a clothing apparel company that helps those who have worked through the COVID-19 pandemic and also for all the first responders with their mental and physical health. Deemed Fit donates 100% of their net profits from the Never Forget collection sales to the Tunnel of Towers Foundation to support those from 9/11. Once again, go to deemedfit.com. Check out all of their great products. All of them have great messages. They fit and look great. Use the promo code Mike Bono and save yourself 10%. By supporting Deemed Fit through your own purchase, gifts bought for your friends, family, and colleagues, or by becoming one of our brand ambassadors, you become part of the Deemed Fit family. Don't miss out on this great way to help and support everyone who has helped and supported our country. Deemedfit.co, promo code Mike Bono, and save yourself 10%. Next, we have Shankit Golf. Shankit Golf is golf apparel made for the everyday golfer. We're not going to go out and shoot a 6 under par. We're probably going to shoot a 6 over par, but we are going to give you the gear to help you rock it on and off of the course. Our goal here at Shankit Golf is for everyone to have a great time on and off of the course, and we're going to help you look great while doing it. Go to shankitgolf.com, use the promo code Mike Bono, and save yourself 10%. Once again, shankitgolf.com, promo code Mike Bono, and save yourself 10%. Lastly, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Web Western. Web Western is for those who roll up their sleeves and do what it takes to get the job done. The arrow serves as a constant reminder to be a straight shooter, no excuses, no bullshit, just honest hard work. It's a brand that reflects the passion within us to lend a hand when it is needed, fight to protect our God-given rights, and live life like there is no tomorrow. Be a straight shooter. Now, let's start the show. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is, as always, your host, Mike Bono. I have a great episode for us today. I got a panel of guests, and we're going to be breaking down the up-and-coming MLB season for the 2026 season and going over everything that we can expect and all of our predictions for this season too, as well, with everything in the world of baseball. I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves here today. So, gentlemen, I need your name, And the answer to these two questions, and it is, what is a better letter, the letter E or Y? And if you could be either a groundhog or a prairie dog, which would you be? And we're going to start with TJ.
How you doing? Well, she's my daughter. She's all right. She's excited. She's mad the baseball season hasn't started yet. So that's TJ Lett. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be back. And better letter. See, I have an E in my name, so I gotta lean with what's in my name. So I like Y's creative, but I'm stick with E here. More uses for it. And then I think I'm gonna be a prairie dog. I mean, just the yell alone, right? Here from miles away. People aren't gonna mess with a prairie dog. Groundhogs are good for one day a year, and they're usually pissing people off that day. So
I got you, Tony. Let's start with you.
My name's Tony. Great to be back on Rod Home Rants. Mine, I'm going to go with the letter in my name, Y. Y, I think, is the better letter. And I would be a groundhog because I just literally keep to myself, pop out every once and again.
I gotcha. Bob, let's go to you next.
My name is Bob Gavalier, and I think E. I think there's more uses for E, I guess, than Y. I don't know. I can't think of it right now, but and then I'd rather be a groundhog. I think my dad has one in his backyard, and he does everything, and that guy still gets into the garden. And so no matter what he does, he still can't keep it out of the garden.
I gotcha. And I think I know the answer to these two questions, but we're going to go to everybody's favorite manager of the podcast, Fiddy.
Thanks, everybody, for being here today. Excited to be on talking another baseball show here. I feel like we just did the World Series show, but I'm Fiddy. I'm going to probably go with the letter Y because it has just cooler names like Yo-Yo and Yogurt, better than like E. And you think of like Excel and I don't know, like Ezel from Friday or something. So, that's what I like think of with it. But I would go with the Y. I'm going to pick a groundhog and I'm going to pick a prairie dog over a groundhog because me and the groundhog that's been fighting me to live under my porch for the past year and a half is like reaching epic proportions. It is involved me filling holes with cement blocks, stone, ammonia, snow, screen, whatever I can do. And he still keeps coming back and I keep missing him at night. And it's just like the never ending 1,000-year war between me and the groundhog. So I take a prairie dog. They also aren't cousins with squirrels. I don't like squirrels, and a groundhog's a cousin with a squirrel. See, I found all this out by having a battle with a groundhog. And that's my rant on the Ride Home Rants intro.
Yeah. I already knew you were going with prairie dog because I know the war you've been having with that groundhog at your house. It's like Rocky and Drago going round after round after round. But for me, everybody knows me, Mike Bono. I'm going to go with E. I mean, honestly, just because it's in my name. So I'm going to go with that one. And for me, I got to go prairie dog on this one. I just, everyone hates the groundhog this time of year because he's always saying there's more winter here in Ohio than there needs to be. So that would be my guess here. But we're not here to talk about letters or what animal would be. We're here to talk about the MLB season. Tony, we're going to start with you. And is the baseball's regular season too long at 162 games?
Yes. As far as the season goes, actually 162 games is perfect. But I think we have too many playoff teams, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think we should go back to, here's what I would do. I'd have it kind of like, the setup before 1994. You have an Eastern Division and a Western Division. Top two teams in each division qualify for the playoffs. And if there's a tie, we have a one-game playoff.
Okay. I don't hate that idea. Fiddy, what about you?
I think it's too long because the playoffs got too long. So I think you have to do one of two things. You go back to the, 3 division winners and 2 wild cards, and you keep the game at 162. Or if you're going to do what you're doing now with multiple teams and it's longer and all of that, then you go to 140 games, shorten it by 22 games. You can get rid of the month of April. Nobody goes to games in April anyways, besides the Guardians like home opener. The weather's terrible in 95% of the country. So no one can enjoy it. You're probably losing money on the games anyways. So eliminate April, start in May, go 140 games and keep a longer playoff, or go back to a shorter playoff and keep 162 games. I would say shorten it by 22 games.
Okay. TJ, what about you?
So my first thought was the beginning of the season, just playing college baseball was terrible. It's terrible. It wasn't even real baseball, really, because you're just sitting there just trying to get a grip of the bag, get a grip of the baseball. Now, as a fan, you go and you sit there, and again, kind of to the point that Fiddy was saying, you're not enjoying that experience, and that's what baseball is great for. The experience of walking around the ballpark, enjoying it, listening to the sounds, and when you're sitting in 20-degree weather, it just isn't. It's not what it is. So I think that you start later. I think you start, you know, Mother's Day-ish area, give or take, move it back a little bit, gives guys a little bit more of a break too, so that they're not burning out and that now you're not sitting there looking at how long the season is. You can give your all a little bit more. And I'm okay with shortening the playoffs too, actually. Just same thing. You run out of weather in October, and then all of a sudden, if you have a northeast team or whatever it is, we're talking about a different baseball game. But that's the dynamic. You can never have too much baseball, but I guess for the overall product, shortening it would be beneficial probably in a couple different ways.
Now I got you, Bob. Round us out here.
I agree with you guys. I'd say shorten the season. April was the worst month to. I know I buy a 6-pack for the Guardians, and I usually stay away from even May games sometimes. April, I don't even look at it except for opening day. So, yeah, I agree. Shorten the season. Maybe even expand the playoffs a little bit. Get done like the middle of September and then start playing your playoff games. Get a couple more wild cards in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with everybody on this one. Like, let's shorten the regular season, keep the playoffs as long as they are. If you want to go that route, you get warmer weather to start the season. More fans are going to be in the stands because it's finally springtime, actually springtime, and not this fall spring that we got over this past weekend and snowing and cold back again here in Ohio. That happens this time of the year, so I like it. I think, yeah. I mean, anytime you can get more baseball, I mean, are we really going to complain about that? But I mean, the end of the day, let's make it enjoyable for the fans again, and yeah, let's shorten the regular season, keep the playoffs where they're at, and start later so that it is warmer. But Bob, we're going to jump right back into this, and we're going to get right into it. Who's your World Series prediction, and who wins?
I got to say the Dodgers, unfortunately. I mean, they're just loaded up again. Out of the AL is going to be tough. There's a lot of different teams. There's like different things I was looking at. Like if the Tigers, if they get rid of Skubal, then I think they have a chance to win. If they keep Skubal, if they get rid of him, they probably could be in there. You look at the Yankees, the Red Sox are good against Seattle. So I'm going to pull an upset and say Detroit keeps Skubal. They got the three good starters, and I say they're going to pull that out, and they're just going to kind of ban on him or letting him go next year. So I'd say Detroit and the Dodgers, and unfortunately, the Dodgers are going to win again.
Yeah, it's tough to go against the Dodgers this year. But TJ, what about you?
My wife saves the day. So, God, the American League is so interesting this year. You have teams that really improved. They went out and actually got actual pieces to help their teams. I'm torn between Boston and Kansas City. I think both of them are a mix of really good young guys and guys that are really hitting their stride. I think Boston's pitching rotation is going to be pretty good this year, just overall from top to bottom. But I like Kansas City. And I know that Detroit got a lot better, which that's another team that the Central is going to be stacked. I love it. Just unfortunately for Chicago, they're just going to be Chicago. But I think that Kansas City makes it out of the American League. And then everything's telling me Dodgers. I got burned. I've gotten burned the last couple of years, but give me somebody. Give me maybe the Mets this year. I think the Mets have the year that they're supposed to have. And when they do, they're going to compete with everybody, especially even those high-level teams such as the Dodgers. I think the Mets put it together. I think they make some big moves at the deadline, even bigger moves to bolster their roster, and they have the money to do it. So give me Kansas City versus the Mets. So rematch from, 2015? Give me Kansas City this year.
Okay. Fiddy, what about you?
Man, it's going to be, I think, contingent on a couple of things in the AL, and I think it kind of goes back to our first question from about the season being too long. Like, it depends, I guess, how cold of a spring it is and how terrible of a fall it could be. Because I do like the Tigers. If the weather's bad and people got to go play, like, and travel in terrible elements, right? Like cold and rain, and you're miserable, and teams can go up there, and the Tigers can have, home field advantage because people are playing terrible weather. Kind of the same thing with the Royals as well. People got to go to, play in bad weather there. So I think it's going to be contingent on that. But if you're stripping everything away and just looking at two teams, probably going to say I'm going to go with the Yankees, and I'm going to go with the Brewers. That's going to be my World Series prediction, with the Brewers winning the World Series.
Okay. I did not see that with the Brewers coming from you. But Tony, what about you?
I think the Dodgers are probably one of the reasons why we're going to go into a lockout in 27, first of all. Second of all, I can see them pulling a three-peat like the Yankees from 98 to 2000. But it won't be like it was with the Jays, which was a 7-gamer, and I'm really wishing the Jays won that. But I do think that they're going to go against Seattle. I think Seattle is going to come out of the AL for their first pennant in franchise history. And I think that they're finally going to break through, because last year was the first time they made it since 2001. A few years ago was the first time they even made the playoffs since 2001. I think that this is Seattle's time, if I'm being honest with you.
Tony, you're going to die on the Seattle Hill, man. But every time you speak good on them, they do all right.
Hey, it's worked so far.
Oh man, yeah. I think that was your prediction last year, Tony. If I'm not mistaken, with Seattle, I gotta go Dodgers Red Sox this year. It's just with how stacked LA is. It's hard to go against them in the NL. They just keep retooling and just keep becoming a powerhouse in the NL with all the money they spend. I gotta say, the inner Red Sox fan in me wants to pick them to win it, but I think the Dodgers, the sports analysis in me is going to go Dodgers in 7 in that one over the Red Sox. But yeah, the AL's interesting. There's so many good teams, but yeah, I think the Red Sox pull through and get back to the World Series in that one, and just fall just short in 7 games against the Dodgers. But Tony, this one's going to be interesting for a lot of people. But who is your number one team that you think will surprise everyone this year?
As far as surprising someone this year, goodness. I am going to go with the San Diego Padres. I think they've been able to put up a fight against the Dodgers the past couple years. If anybody could push them in the NL West, it would be them, because they've got some good pieces. If Yu Darvish comes back and he recovers from his injury, he's another key piece for that Padres team. And it would be really great to see San Diego knock off LA like they did in 22.
Okay. Fiddy, what about you?
I think I'm gonna go with the Brewers, and here's why. They've been good, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, TJ and Tony, because I know you're a little bit more historical in baseball than me with this, but you're in a NL championship game last year. Of course, you got crushed in 4 games, but you're in wild card 2 years before that. They're taking the steps to be in the right direction, and they have become a very good mid-market ball club. And I think they're really knocking on the door. I just think the experience of having that playoff baseball the past few years has been good for them. You've had guys, play in the postseason, and I think for all of us, we know if you want to build great ball clubs, whether it's anything from high school through professionals, the more playoff experience you have, the farther you usually can go down the road because you get all the extra practices and the at bats and things like that. So I really do think it's going to be the Brewers. I really do think they'll be the number one seed coming out of the NL.
Okay. TJ, what about you?
All right, I'm going 2 A's here. I'm going to go surprise in a good way and surprise in a bad way. I think the Blue Jays surprise people in a bad way. I think that they get significantly worse. Not because their team gets worse or not because their players get worse. I just think that they played so well last year that replicating that without adding a ton of pieces or really without, not even adding a ton of pieces, but when Boston gets better, New York gets healthy, now you're in that gauntlet of the AL East again. Baltimore's going to get healthy. Now you're back to, okay, we're all fighting for that one spot. I think they missed the playoffs this year. So I think they're going to surprise people in a bad way by stepping back. In a good way, you saw what happened to Cincinnati with 1 year of Terry Francona. Every year he comes in and he's just, I win baseball games with what I have. And Cincinnati said, okay, here's Eugenio Suarez. Here we go. Now we're adding, and Terry Francona's going to sit there with, yes, keep giving me pieces. I'm going to keep making it work for my franchise. So watch Cincinnati make a run. Watch Cincinnati control the year in a way that people aren't expecting.
Okay. Bob, what about you?
I like what the Cubs did. I think the Cubs are going to surprise some people. They added Bregman. They got Hop. They just need some pitching. I think if they need their pitching healthy, they got a good bullpen, good reliever. And so I think the Cubs are one of the teams that are going to surprise people. That's going to be a loaded Central because I think the Pirates are going to be better too. I think the Pirates will come back. They have two good really starters now too. But I think the Cubs are going to be like a softball team. I think they're going to score a lot of runs and their pitching is going to give up a lot.
I gotcha. And I'm so glad you mentioned the Pirates because that is my pick. And everybody's going to say, oh, well, you're just being a humber. No, look at what they're doing in spring training without Skeens in the lineup. They are absolutely dominating in spring training, and they look good. They have the hitting that they were missing. Skeens and Bubba are going to give you two aces that can be 2 wins if you can get them 3 runs in the Central. That to me is a winning recipe in that division. If you can get those 2 guys to come in and win you some series and just pitch lights out, actually have some hitting. Am I pissed that we let McCutchen go to Texas? Yeah. I mean, we want him to retire a Pirate. I mean, he's always going to be a Pirate, but yeah, now he's in Texas and it is what it is. But the hitting's there this year. We've added some power to the rotation. I like what we did in the offseason. Everybody was calling for Nutting's head, and I was one of them. And we'll see. We'll see what happens because Pittsburgh always loves to get your hopes up in spring training and then really disappoint you once the season starts, like they do every year to me. But I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking to my guns. And the Pirates, they're not going to make a deep playoff run. They'll get to the wild card. They may make it out of that, but that's about it if they do. But that's a winning season in Pittsburgh, and that's going to bring life back to that city, which we all need. And TJ, you beat me to this next question with your answer to that one, and who's your one team that will disappoint everyone this year? So we already know your pick on that one. But Bob, what about you on this one? Who's your disappointment this year?
I'm going to say the Yankees. You look at that pitching staff, and they're old, they're hurt. They don't have a lot of. We got Judge, and all those guys are getting old and stuff like that. So the Yankees, I think, I wouldn't be surprised if they come in last place in the AL because, like I said, Baltimore's loaded up, Toronto, the Red Sox. Yeah. So I'm going to say the Yankees with that. They struggle with their pitching staff.
It is there.
I got you, TJ. Are you changing your answer from the previous answer in the Blue Jays, or are you sticking with Toronto on that one?
No, because the Yankees, it'll be fun to watch. It like Like if they fail, everybody's happy. Like so,
Yeah.
it's not disappointing. It's what the world needs. You know?
Everybody needs the Yankees to lose. Everybody does. I'm hoping you're right on that, Bob. I really am on that one. But Fiddy, what about you?
Man, this is hard, and I'm going to say this, and even though I'm a fan, I think it's going to be the Guardians, right? Like they did nothing to improve in the offseason. And sure, they made this great run like it was the movie Major League, except Tom Berenger's not running down the first baseline, last in the playoffs. But the thing is, like, Francona leaves. You get the new guy in there. You have a pretty good first season with him, right? And then your second year, you really get into that funk. Yeah, you win some games, but I think you still lose 5 more games than you did the year before. That disastrous first round, painful playoffs was like the worst baseball I might have ever watched. And I haven't watched a ton of baseball, but it's pretty bad.
Mhm.
Then if that's like the worst I ever watched, they haven't done anything. And this isn't like, I mean, in baseball, yeah, you can grind out wins, but like, okay, you could be the Yankees and win games 12-9 because you have hitters and no pitching, or are you the Guardians and you pray you win games 3-2 and 2-1? With a bunch of young stud pitchers, which they do have, but a pitch clock and not allowing these guys to rest and drag out games of 3.5, 4 hours anymore. I just don't think they got the muscle to do it. And I don't know if the Guardians have the means to get out of what's going to be happening until they spend money, because the Tigers aren't going anywhere. The Royals aren't going anywhere. The Twins, even though Baldelli is not there, you still will be okay. And then you have the White Sox. So I think it's the Guardians, and this might be the dark days ahead for them.
Okay, Tony, what about you?
So good.
I can't believe you said that about the Guardians, Fiddy.
I can.
My God.
I can.
We are.
Are you serious, Tony? Like you're really surprised
You
Fiddy
get
came
what
out
you
with
put
that?
in. You get what
I'm
you
a
put
fan.
in.
I'm saying it
sick
as
of
a
playing
fan.
prospects and players to be named later.
Like I'm saying it as a fan, though. It's true, though. You didn't get better. You didn't get better in anything.
Those same prospects came from 15 and a half back and were only 500 in September and pulled off one of the greatest comebacks of all time. Even though they did lose in the wild card to
Yep, just in
Detroit,
time to lose to the next two of the 3.
But speaking of the AL Central, my team that is gonna be disappointing is gonna be in the AL Central, the Detroit Tigers.
Wow.
I feel like it's gonna be the Tigers because I feel Tariq Skubal is gonna have a good year, but it's gonna be kind of like Paul Skeens. It's like, what can you do to keep him where he's at so he doesn't go somewhere else? On the flip side, I do want to see Justin Verlander do good, just not against the Guardians, because I think Verlander's probably going to be the last.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the last OGs. But other than that, I think Detroit could potentially. You have to wonder if, even though they did beat Cleveland in the wild card series and take Seattle to 5 games in 15 innings, you have to wonder if that's still weighed on their mind, that huge collapse in September. Because imagine if they cruised to the Central and the Guardians were nowhere near the playoffs. How would things shake out? Would Skubal have signed a major deal already? And then you do have, I believe, no, Kenzone plays for Seattle. But I know that somebody in Northeast Ohio did play for Detroit at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. It'll come to me. Yeah.
Tony, I'm gonna start calling you Hot Take Tony on these shows because you come out with some stuff, man. Like Detroit, I can't.
It's hard to say a team that's adding is going to do worse,
Right? Like that's a bold stance for what they did in the offseason.
With Tony, I could see them doing. The only with Tony's, I could see them doing bad if they trade Skubal near the end of the pennant race. So that's the only way I could see them doing bad is if they kind of load him near the end of the pennant race.
Yeah,
but Framber Valdez, Framber Valdez is a Cy Young guy too, and they added him. I just when you add pitching,
you don't need a lot of runs when you add pitching. Like
Exactly.
when you have that, you only need 2 to 3 runs to win games. Detroit has that, and it hurts me to say anything good about Detroit as I hear my wife gagging in the background because I mentioned Detroit because she hates everything from Detroit, from the Red Wings in hockey to the Lions to in football to now the Tigers in baseball. She just anything from Detroit is just god awful. For me, the biggest disappointment this year, I'm gonna have to agree and say the Yankees, and that's more of the I can't stand the Yankees, and I want to just put that out into the world so that they do bad. But I just don't. I just there's so much hype around this team that they're not going to live up to that hype this year. They're going to have a decent season by any team standpoint, but it's not going to be a Yankees season, and it's going to disappoint a lot of people in New York. And the Mets now are just vying for that New York team. They're not wanting the Mets are going to become the new age Yankees of old, where they're every time. My wife in the background, she goes, "Let me stop you right there. Mets suck." And just old friends references all day here. She just loves to make me laugh when she comes out with that while I'm recording. But yeah, it's the Yankees for me. I think they're going to disappoint a lot of people in New York, and I'm here for it. That's where I'm at with that. Tony, as a baseball fan, though, I want to go to you. Are afternoon games or night games better to attend, and why?
It would depend on the weather, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I will take a warm night over a cold day. But if it's like, say, a cold day and it's sunny, or a mild day if it's sunny, over a warm night where there's rain in the area. So it basically depends on the weather.
I got you. Fiddy, what about you?
I think it depends if you're sitting in the sun or not, like for an afternoon game. If you're in like, May, September, October, Sunday afternoon, could be warm, could be cool, whatever. But it could be nice in the sun. But if you're sitting like dead sun, July, 1 o'clock with like if you go like this with your hand and that's like a fierce gust of wind, then yeah, it's going to be probably terrible. So you want to go to the night game. My opinion, perfect weather scenario. I love afternoon baseball games, whether it's minor league or professional, just because you can go hang out. There's usually less people. It's not as crowded leaving. Perfect weather conditions and shade. I'll take the afternoon game. If I had to sit in the heat and stuff, I would take the night game. But I'll tell you a quick story. You guys will laugh at this. So probably about maybe like 12, 13 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that. We went, my mom, my stepdad, my sister, her best friend and me went to a Pirates game on the 4th of July at 1 p.m. It was so hot, and it was so stifling in the baseball stadium. We were sitting behind like home plate, like probably like 10 rows up. We left at the top of the 4th inning. It was like a high of like 94 that day. It was the most brutal, unbelievable thing ever. We stayed for not even 4 innings and we left. Like I fell asleep. That's how hot it was on me. And it made me that sleepy. We were like, we have to go. So
July in Pittsburgh is on those 3 rivers is just that's a bold strategy, Cotton. And let's see how it plays out. Like you're gonna be miserable on those 3 rivers in an afternoon game in July in Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh and I love that stadium at PNC Park, but July in afternoon game in Pittsburgh, it's just you better be sitting somewhere under that tundra where you're getting some shade because you're gonna be hating it if not.
It was so hot. You just seen like steam like everywhere. And like the sun. I'm like, am I in like the Sahara Desert?
You're starting to hallucinate
at a baseball game. And everyone's just sitting there, and then when everybody's hot, I just like sit there like this, and you're like, oh my god. And that was before the pitch clock, right? So
they're taking their time.
like an hour long. You know what I mean? Because it was just so hot and they were grinding out the game. I'm like, come. Well, I was like, I looked at my family and I was like, can we please go? And they were like, yes. I was like, perfect. Thank you.
All right, TJ, what about you? Night or afternoon games?
This is awful. The first thing I thought about was the traffic after a game. I can't stand
Yeah.
after a night game, and then you're just sitting in like traffic for 30 minutes. We have terrible patterns, like traffic patterns here. So give me the day game, but I don't know. I feel like you wake up, you get your breakfast, you go down to the ball field, you walk around, you're doing all those things, then you're back home by 6. So I like that. I think that, and then at night games, you got to wait all day, and then like it's your whole night. It's 6 o'clock to 11:30. So I like day games. I really do. I'm okay with being hot. I like walking around and like exploring the stadiums. But yeah, give me the day game.
Gotcha, Bob. What about you?
I'm a night guy. I love being under the lights. Nothing better than as the sun starts setting and you get the lights getting turned on and stuff. So I'm a night guy. You get it cools down a little bit sometimes. Some days it does. But I had the same scenario, Fiddy. I went to a Reds game in Cincinnati one time, and it was like that. It was so hot, and we were in the upper deck, and it rained, it thunderstormed, and then it was just so muggy, and it was just like we were eating ice cream, and it was melting before we even got like we were just so miserable. I think we lasted like 3-4 innings at a Reds, and that's even worse. That's down south, more south. But yeah, for me, going to a night game under the lights, I just enjoy that.
Yeah, for me, I like the night games. I'm one of these people, I can't be cool enough. So those day games, like when you're just cooking and sweating, that's tough for me. But I also like Pittsburgh always does fireworks. I always go back to Pittsburgh. It's the stadium I've been to the most. They always do fireworks at the end. You really get to see them versus the day game. I mean, they still shoot them off for the day games, but you really get to see the fireworks and enjoy them over that city and seeing that there. So there's nothing better than, plus, being on the Three Rivers there, you get that cool breeze at night there in Pittsburgh. That's just one thing that I like about night games. I do hate the traffic, no matter where you're at in Pittsburgh. There's always traffic, whether it's a day game or a night game, just because everything's a one-way street. And the street you need to be at is going the wrong direction. So you got to go around the block to get to where you already were. But yeah, Pittsburgh, it loves their one-way streets. It's for sure.
Yeah.
Everything is a one-way, and the street you need to be on, you got to go
It's
3
right
blocks
next to
up
you.
the wrong direction and go around to get to where you're at to be able to park. That's the worst part about Pittsburgh is the one-way streets and the parking there for me. But yeah, I'm a night game kind of guy. I don't mind waiting all day. I kind of amp myself up for it all day, make up all the scenarios in my head that will never come to fruition during the game. But yeah, I just love the night games. But Bob, for you on this one, who makes it further this year in the AL? Is it the Guardians or the Yankees?
Oh.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I think they both are going to be bottom dwellers, but I will say the Guardians win more games just because they have to play the White Sox a lot. So I'll say the Guardians will have a better record than the Yankees just because they got to play the White Sox.
The White Sox are an easy sweep for sure. Yeah. TJ, what about you?
See, we always struggle with the White Sox. That's the one team we don't beat. We beat everybody. Like we can beat Detroit. We hang with Kansas City, and then we were on like we were won 10 out of 12 or something like that last year, and then we went and played the White Sox and got swept, or it was 3-1. I'm like, what are we doing? It just we always struggle with them. Oh God. Dude, okay, I'm on the same boat with the fact that just because of the division, though I think the Central will be really good, I still think that the Twins are going to be rate average or a little bit below average. I think Guardians are going to be a little bit below average, and the White Sox are going to be awful. So I just think because of that division where the AL East, you're going to have 3 teams at 85 wins or up, probably. So I don't see the Yankees said I don't see the Yankees staying healthy. They're one Aaron Judge injury away from scoring 2 runs a game. So I don't see the Yankees being successful this year at all.
I gotcha. And to your point, TJ, the Guardians, they remind me a lot of Pittsburgh, and they play to the level of team that they're playing.
Absolutely.
They don't play to their caliber all year. They play down to the teams that they are playing, and they lose the games. It's like, oh, we're going to sweep this series. There's no way we're losing to the White Sox, and then we lose 4 games in a row to the Sox. So yeah, I get that for sure with that. But Fiddy, what about you, Guardians or Yankees?
I mean, you heard my take earlier on stuff, so I'm going to just go with the Yankees. But here's what I will say to Bob's point, though, and I've said this the past couple of years. I still do think the AL Central is the worst division in all of baseball because in some years you can win like 84 games and be the division champion, and that's pretty bad. You know, where you probably sometimes need to win 95 games in the AL East to be, you know, legitimate and even have a chance for the wild card. So, to the extent of what everybody's saying, potentially the Guardians could have more wins than the Yankees, but because I picked the Yankees to go to the World Series and they can hit more, I'm going to go with the Yankees. They'll have a better season.
I got you. Tony, what about you?
I will have to say, much as it pains me to say this, I think the Yankees probably go a little further than the Guardians do. Because I think the Guardians will end up somewhere maybe around 70 to 85 wins. The Yankees just, when they're not competing in the World Baseball Classic, have an offense that can.
Yeah. I got that one. I gotta go Guardians on this one because I can't pick the Yankees for anything on that one. That's literally the only analysis I have is I hate the Yankees that much that Guardians over Yankees. Tony, this stay with you. And which current MLB manager has had a better career? And that's either Tony Francona for the Reds or David Roberts for the Dodgers.
Tony Francona must be a long lost cousin of
Terry. I looked at your damn name when I was reading that. And I said, Tony, it's Terry. God damn it! It's been a day, y'all. It's been a day.
I'll have to say Dave Roberts because he also won a World Series with Boston, and he took a lot of flack prior to 2020. He had a lot of flack for the Dodgers always winning the West and not being able to make a deep run until 2020, where they won a World Series. It still counts, even though it was technically in a bubble. It still counts. And then they win back-to-back titles and are obviously, provided everyone stays healthy, in the world we see Shohei Ohtani get like 20 wins with 60 homers or some crazy stuff like that. So I say Dave Roberts because of the pieces he has.
I got you. Fiddy, what about you?
Dave Roberts, Francona. I'm probably going to go here. I'm going to say Francona because here's why. He took 3 teams out of 4 to the playoffs, 2 of them to the World Series. He has 2 World Series. You know, my thing is, and I've said this on other shows, right? Like, you can be a great coach with one team. I want to see you be a great coach or manager with multiple teams. I think that's a true testament of a coach, right? Like, but no matter what sport it is, hockey, baseball, basketball, whatever. Phil Jackson won titles with 2 teams, right? Like, you know, Francona's had success with 3 teams. Really, you can't say Philadelphia because he never even had a winning season there, right? You know, you've had football coaches go on and be successful with, you know, a couple different teams. So to me, I think the true testament of being great is can you do it with multiple teams? So I got to say it's Francona just because he's won, you know, pretty much everywhere, you know, out of 3 out of 4 of his stops.
I got you. TJ, what about you?
Yeah, I'm on the Francona train. I just think that he gets so much out of what little he has, and it makes it look like he has a lot. It's like, oh, he's got these great players. I'm like, he made Brian Shaw look good for us. Like, you know, it just he does something about how he uses his players, how he gets his players right. I mean, the one season he had 0 ejections all year. No players got ejected. So that's a discipline thing. So if you can get that into your team, now I will say this: Dave Roberts gets a lot of flack because he has the roster that he has. But can you imagine managing all those egos? And he's been able to do that the last couple of years. So Dave Roberts is an excellent manager, and people need to start giving him his flowers. But I just think Francona just, yes, the testament of a manager is, are you able to get everything out of your players? And that's what Francona does.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob, round us out here.
I got to go with Francona too, just because of what everybody else says. He goes to different places, and what he did with the Reds last year was just like a miracle. I mean, they were supposed to probably come in last place, and he got him into the playoffs. Did it with the Indians. They were a rain delay away from maybe winning that one against the Cubs the one year in the World Series. So I just think what he's done, with the 3 different teams and taking them to the playoffs and win some World Series, I just think, like TJ says, he gets everything out of those kids. And even though they're not the superstars, he just finds a way to win with what he has. And just, you give him a couple of pieces and he'll be able to build a good team out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with everybody. I mean, everyone said it. It's Terry Francona. I'll get his name right once, I guess, in this question here. But yeah, you do it with multiple teams and you win with multiple teams. That's the mark of a better career. Yeah, for me. That's what it boils down to. Bob, has the pitch clock been useful tool for the MLB? And what's your opinion on the pitch clock?
I think it has been. I think it's kind of sped up the game a little bit. It's been more entertaining. I think, especially in the playoffs when you got the pitch clock and stuff like that, and all the strategy going on. What I'm interested to see here is about the strike zone thing this year, how they use that and stuff like that. But I think the pitch clock, I think it's gotten, unfortunately, this generation that we're having does not have a good attention span. So I think this helps out a little bit to get some of the younger people to kind of go to games and at least pay attention for a couple innings longer than maybe they usually do. And what's it been, like 2 or 3 years now? And I think people forget about it now. It's just integrated into the game now.
Yeah. It's been a couple of years now. But TJ, what about you? Pitch clock?
Yeah, the pitch clock is, to me, really a non-factor. Now, I know that some pitchers are manipulating it a little bit now, which is cool to see that, where some pitchers will just hold the ball until 1 second and knowing that the batter doesn't have that timeout anymore. So I love to see that strategy. It's just a new layer into the game. Sucks that the beer sales are shorter. That's the killer right now. But I think that just like everything else, you make it work. I think it's just now a part of what's going on. So it almost isn't a factor. I don't think people realize that it didn't have to be 35 seconds in between a pitch. Like, let's go, throw the ball, get the ball, throw the ball, let's go. So I like it. I was a fan of it from the start.
Yeah, I like the pitch clock. I'll jump in here because you mentioned something that's, I don't want to say near and dear to my heart because that makes me sound bad, but near and dear to my heart. But the beer sales, I think, you know what, people are going to start to figure this out. You don't have a lot of time in between innings anymore and in between pitches. So I'm not just buying one, I'm buying two. Now, we're going to maximize the consumption during the game like I used to during that time period when pitchers were taking 35 seconds to a minute to throw a ball because you got to wipe your forehead off 16 different times in different ways before you threw the ball. I like the pitch clock. You know what? Throw the ball. Let's get out of there. And it stops the batters from gumming up. It just fixed my gloves. I got to tighten them back down again after I just fixed them 10 seconds ago. So yeah, that speed the game up a little bit. I like that part of it. But yeah, Fiddy, what about you? Pitch clock.
100% behind it. Final answer.
Okay. Tony, what about you?
I like the pitch clock, if I'm being honest with you, but I do not like the ghost runner. Because I like to have games that are at least 2.5 hours. That way it starts and stops at a reasonable time. But ghost runner shouldn't be at least until the 12th inning. Especially on the last day of the season when there's potential, playoff bids on the line. Just throw it all out the window on day 162, regardless whether teams got 46 wins or 96.
Yeah, that was such a good point about the 12th inning, because what happens is, you know what, you might need one extra inning. That's fine. But the point being was like they was trying to keep pitchers healthy. You know, they're not going to use position players late, or they're not using guys. But after the 12th inning, now you're starting to get to that point, but not the 10th. If you weren't thinking about one more or two more pitchers, you had a bad strategy throughout that game. So, no, that's a really, really good point.
Yeah, to that point with the ghost runner. I mean, let's go to hockey rules in overtime. You know, it's 3-on-3 during the regular season. We get into the playoffs and get into games that matter. It's 5-on-5, and we're playing a full another 20 minutes. You know what I mean? We're not playing this 5-10 minute 3-on-3 pond hockey type of game, and you're putting your three best guys out there and letting them go for the entire 5 minutes because they've saved that in the tank because they anticipated overtime. And no shootouts in the playoffs either. So you know what? But after 12 innings, all right.
So what do you think? You think like, dude, like a team picks three batters? You think they, like, hey,
you know what?
Every inning?
Okay, you know what? The hell with it. Let's see. You want to talk about that, TJ? You just opened up a can of worms over here on that one, and the hell with it. After 12 innings, let's go to a home run derby.
Dude,
you know what I mean? It's like the shootout in hockey. Let's go to a home run derby. Let's get our three best. You get 5 pitches each. Whoever can hit the long ball the most after 12 innings, you're the winner. The hell with it.
Saving pitchers anyway.
Yeah, who cares? Let's get a pitching coach out there. We're just going to lob them over. We're just going to have a home run derby.
And you know what? Innings. You know what's crazy? Now you sit there and look at for Cleveland, you look at like a John Kenzie Noel that we just let go because he strikes out so much. Dude, you're a specialist. That's your specialty right there.
That's saving you for overtime.
On the roster. That's it.
We're saving you for God forbid this game goes 12 innings. I need you to hit 5 homers off of a pitching coach, which you do in batting practice every freaking day. Yep. Right there.
There's your enforcer, right? Hey, hockey has their enforcer, right? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Guys, we're running down, so we need a quick answer on this one here. For this last question, Bob, we're going to start with you here. What is your favorite baseball movie of all time to recommend somebody who's never watched a baseball movie before?
Oh, God.
I got to go Sandlot. I think that's one of the better ones. Yeah, there's so many of them, but I got to go with Sandlot, I think.
I got you, TJ. What about you?
Us playing playing in the backyard and just playing baseball all day. That was our lives, right?
That's it.
Absolutely.
It's so quotable. The whole movie, you can quote everything. See, my thing is, my first one is Major League.
Yeah.
Major League, and the problem that I have is like I can't show that to I coach high school baseball and I had a kid that had never seen it. I kind of want, dude, you got to go see it, but I'm also like, don't tell your parents I told you to watch this movie, but you have to as a baseball player. You got to know it. So.
I got you, Fiddy. What about you?
Here's what I would say. Major League is great. And I think like how they were treated in that movie, and this is going to be a little long-winded, so I apologize, but how they're treated in that movie is like playing non-scholarship level baseball when you have no money, like a D3 program. So like how they travel and stuff. So that's really great. I think The Sandlot's super awesome. And if anyone remembers when the Babe came out of the closet, what he said was, heroes get remembered, but legends never die.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a great quote. I got a tie for 3, and you said one, but I do manage the podcast, so I give out 3 here on this one. Real quick, I love The Natural with Robert Redford. I think it's a great movie. A little far-fetched, but it's a great movie. But shout out Robert Redford in that. I really love For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
And I think that is every athlete at the end, whether it's your last game in college or the pros or in high school. I think that is true for all of us when we're athletes, right? Or former athletes, like how Kevin Costner was on that mound. And you would always want your last event to be the best one ever. But my favorite baseball movie of all time, and I got to say this, and I got to list the cast because it was great. It's Angels in the Outfield. Angels in the outfield
So good.
from such a long time ago. It's great because, like, I was just saying this to somebody I work with. Like, you got Danny Glover, Matthew McConaughey is in that, Tony Danza, you got Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a little boy, Christopher Lloyd, Adrian Brody's in that, and Neil McDonough. Like,
So good.
For a lot of those guys, McConaughey, Adrian Brody, Neil McDonough, like, they really weren't well known before that, and they were just role people in that movie. So fantastic cast. I love Angels in the Outfield.
Okay, Tony, what about you?
I'm going to have to go with Major League. Major League is just an absolute classic, just straight up. Another one that, ironically, a team before they unfortunately got caught cheating was movie based on was Hardball, about a bunch of Chicago kids. And Jackie Robinson Lowell going to
dude, Hardball. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and they went to the White House and everything, but it turns out that Chicago team unfortunately got caught cheating.
I got you. You guys have said a lot of the ones that I wanted to say. Major League's obviously up there for me. Both of them, 1 and 2. Yeah, I love both of those.
Marvel.
Sandlot, I mean, it's a classic. Angels in the Outfield's a good one. I'm going to say one that, nobody has said, and I don't think gives the credit that it deserves. The Rookie. It's one that's going to pull at your heartstrings a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's a feel good story. A guy that should have been in the pros and has some unfortunate injuries. As somebody who was coming up in his sport and swimming and is going to make a name for himself, and then an unfortunate injury took me out of the swimming game. You know what? You love to see it. It's a feel good movie. And you can't go wrong with those type of movies. It's a deep movie. It pulls at the heartstrings. But little off kilter for the comedian on the set here to just say the movie that's gonna get everyone a little. We're gonna need a box of tissues for the end of this movie, but you know what I mean. Like it, but everybody said all the good ones, so I'm gonna go with one that's gonna pull at everybody's heartstrings because you guys took all of the movies I was gonna say when he said them. So yeah, that's it. Everybody go check that out. But with that being said, that is actually going to do it for this week's episode of the Ride Home Brands podcast. I want to thank all of my guests, TJ, Tony, Bob, and Fiddy, for joining the show. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to get to sit and talk about the up-and-coming baseball season and the MLB. And as always, if you enjoyed the show, be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't, tell them anyways. They might like it just because you didn't. That's going to do it for me. And I will see y'all next week. The Ride Home Rants podcast wants to thank you for listening and let everybody know that we do offer monthly subscriptions to help support the show in other ways other than listening and downloading each episode. What you will get with each subscription is you will get bonus episodes that aren't released to everybody. You will also have a chance to ask me anything each and every month where I will put out a special episode just to answer your questions. You will also get more exclusive content that is not released to everybody. To subscribe to the show, go and click on the link in the description of this episode, and I look forward to your added support and to help us keep this show going.